3 points and 3 goals for Manchester United, albeit against Southampton, who very much are struggling. But this is exactly what Manchester United needed today, Don.
They did, and I have to be consistent, Kay. These 12:30 kickoffs when you're away from home, add in the fact that after the international break, they didn't start well, and they have to be consistent. Second half, well, after they got their first goal, after the penalty miss, they bossed the game, and they looked quite good. They looked very, very shaky early on. They could have went 1-0 down with a Southampton header that just went over the bar. They could have went 2-0 down with the penalty that was saved by Onana. And then since then, that sort of galvanised them a little bit. It gave them a little bit of a spark. And as away performances go, away results go, that's took the pressure off Ten Hag a little bit, because I honestly feared for him. If he had lost that game, I don't think we'd be sitting here saying Ten Hag is the Man United manager anymore. I think they would have probably fired him after a loss. So great win for him. Good for Jadon Sancho Marcus Rashford that he got his goal. Good for De Ligt that he got his goal as well. So that's good for team morale, but big for the manager, I think.
We'll get to Sancho in just a moment, because obviously we saw him for Chelsea today. But Matthijs de Ligt is somebody that you brought up on your digital hit today, Stevie, because to show the resolve that he did after what had been a difficult couple of weeks was good for him.
Yeah, I think it shows you what the guy's made of. That, you know, a lot of players would have crumbled under the criticism that they got, or they would get from their international manager, who basically, I mean, it was embarrassing for any manager, never mind just an international manager, to come down on a player the way he did. And the fact that he stood up, not only did he score a goal today, but he defended well. At 0-0, he made a couple of fantastic challenges, a couple of great headers away, a couple of good blocks. And then he steps up and shows the rest of his team how it's done and puts the ball in the back of the net. And from there, in my opinion, he was United's best player. And the fact that he turned around and showed exactly what he's made of, good for him.
Does this quieten some of the news around Manchester United? I know it was against Southampton, but it was a win.
For a week.
For the next game.
Yeah, who they have, well, they have what, is it Atalanta in the league? No, that's... They have
Palace.
Palace next weekend, and again the pressure gets turned all the way up on Erik ten Hag. Yet again, this is a game that Manchester United had to win, but one that they were expected to win. And while I think they can all come away from it feeling happy with the result, if not the performance, it shows how thin the margins are in this game. Because I think had Archer buried that penalty, all of a sudden. Southampton at home, Manchester United, given all the talk we've had about them for the last couple of weeks, trailing away to Southampton takes a toll. And the game swung right there. The game swung with that Onana save, because up to that point, I thought Southampton were the better team. From there on in, no question Manchester United were. But Manchester United's, the expectation around who they are, purely because of how big a football club Manchester United continues to be, is not about whether you can go to Southampton and win. It's how you continue to climb up the table, how you continue to put those wins back to back. Can you now do the same against Crystal Palace? You don't. And unfortunately, Ten Hag, and they've played themselves into this kind of pressure, every single result is going to be viewed as a possible tipping point.
What did you think about the 11 today, Don? We saw Eriksen in from the start. We saw Amad Diallo in as well. What did you make of what Ten Hag had chosen for his side today?
I thought he took a few gambles, to be honest. I've said it before about Kobbie Mainoo. He can't cover the ground, so to pair him with Christian Eriksen, I thought that was a massive risk, because you're looking at the profile of two players who can't really move. I mean, technically, both of them are very, very good, but they can get exposed. I didn't really see Bruno Fernandes too much today. I think Shaka's nailed it, really. It was a different game, a Southampton score. They probably run away with it. Man United might crumble. So it was a strange one having Garnacho on the bench. That was very strange. It was strange pairing Kobbie Mainoo with Christian Eriksen, as I said, who can't cover the ground. I would personally, when I look at the Man United midfield, maybe Ugarte's not ready, but I think you play him in the three with Bruno Fernandes and Kobbie Mainoo, and I think that solves all the problems. It makes them structurally a three. It makes them harder to get exposed. They can control the ball. They can control games a little bit easier. So that might be the future for Ten Hag. But How he come up with Christian Eriksen alongside Kobe Mainoo, that was a real gamble.
Was that a surprise for you, Stevie?
Yeah, I was surprised I saw Eriksen, but at the same time, Eriksen's played because of the opposition. Because Ten Hag obviously felt that they could go there and outplay them and play them just heads up a game of football. Now, he forgot that in order to play your football, you have to win the battle first. And they didn't do that at the start of the game. But once they get themselves ahead and kind of won the battle, from then on, it paid off because Southampton, for me, were just never in the game. So I think 100% it was all due to the fact that it was Southampton that were playing.
But if I may, to that point, why not stick Ugarte in? You're not going to go long term with Eriksen. You're not going to go long term with Casemiro. And if it's a weaker opponent in Southampton, which they were, and
so just to add, he did say he just wanted to give him enough time to bed in.
I don't get it. And the reason I say I don't get it is to start the season, he brings in Mazraoui and De Ligt. Starts with Mazraoui, no question. Now, again, I'm not on the training ground, so I'm not seeing exactly what Ten Hag is saying. But if you're willing to throw players straight in, and those two signed days before, certainly that the opening day of the season, or the Community Shield, go ahead and throw those players in. You've got Southampton away. Throw them in at the deep end. And let him bed himself in for a slightly tougher test in Crystal Palace, and then whatever else is to come. I just don't get the kind of reluctance to take that gamble.